Hello, Hannah the Suburban Witch here, and today we are doing episode 3 of my Psychic Development series. And today we're going to be talking about clairsentience. In today's video, we are going to go over what is clairsentience, some crystals and herbs that you can use to enhance this psychic sense, and we're going to do an exercise to begin developing your clairsentience as well. If you're new to my channel, I'm Hannah the Suburban Witch, an intuitive tarot reader and astrologer, and I love sharing my witchy tips with you all here on YouTube. I release a video every Wednesday. Make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss one. I also have tons of content over on my Patreon, my TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, so there's lots of other platforms where we can connect. What is clairsentience? Well, as we know from the previous episodes, clair means clear, and sentience means feeling. So it's clear feeling. And this is referring to the bodily sensations that we'll often get as a psychic or intuitive hit. Some ways that this can come through, and there are many different forms of this. For me, for example, one of my most common forms of clairsentience is shivers. So we might call those goosebumps, or you just go, ooh, I felt that, it gives you a little shiver up your spine. So that can mean different things for different people. So you need to work with your own self and your own messages and your own guides and spirit team to figure out what that specifically means for you. Personally, if I'm doing a reading for somebody and I get the shivers, it generally means that what I've said or what has just come up is extremely important and we need to dive deeper into that, or that it holds a lot of truth. So it's really great for me to be aware of that. Some other ways this can come through is a warmth or a feeling or a prick or a sensation in another part of your body. So this can be taken literally. So you may be tuning in with someone, doing a reading, that sort of thing, and go, oh, ow, oh, my wrist hurts. Do you have a sore wrist? And that might be your guide's way of telling you that this person has a sore wrist and you're going to feel it as well. So it's quite a literal translation. Or what I find more common is, for example, I tune in with someone and I feel something in my right hand. I go, oh, that's in my right hand. It's a bit funny feeling. To me, the right side of the body means your masculine side or your father's side. The left is your feminine side or your mother's side. So this can come through in a few different ways. Depending on the area of the body part in question, that can have significant meanings. You can look up a lot of Louise Hay's details on this as well. She did a lot of work in what the spiritual meanings for body parts are. But I often find, for example, if I stub my right toe on a chair, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. That's 3 times. 3 times for me, that's a very clear sign. I might say, my father's side, I'm going to call my father and check in and make sure he's okay. Or make sure that my grandfather on my father's side is okay. Just looking into that fatherly side. Or if it's, for example, your hand, and your hand is often your power, right? You grab for things, you point at things, especially your right hand, that's your masculine dominant hand. And your right side, your masculine side, is about what you put out into the world. It's almost forceful. Whereas your left side, your feminine, is receiving. Okay, so that's more what you bring in. So if something's going on in this right hand, it might mean something that you have to, do, or a message of something that you have to go out and physically do rather than sitting back and waiting. So there's a few different ways you can interpret those. You may also be familiar with a common superstition, which is if you have an itchy palm of your hand, it means something about money. Generally, your left hand, so itchy palm of your left hand is money coming in, right? Remember, that's your receiving side. Itchy right, money going out. That's what you don't want. So that's always a fun one to pay attention to as well. Some other ways that this can come through is your gut instinct, right? Your clairsentience is very strongly linked to your solar plexus chakra, and it is very strongly linked to your gut feeling and your instinct and your survival mode and that sort of thing. So it's often, oh, I feel a bit uneasy in this situation. Listen to that gut feeling. That is your clairsentience. I'm going to give a couple examples of when I have experienced this, just to show you how it can come through as well. So when I was earlier on in my own development, I used to attend a development circle, which is a fantastic thing. Totally recommend it. And it was guided by one of my good friends, Michael. And one day, me being a tarot reader, he called me up, and this is all live and all in front of people. This was done online, but a live reading type of thing. And he said, all right, Hannah, put your cards away. I'm going to give you 1 minute. You're going to tune into my energy and tell me what I did today. Go. Oh my goodness, I was put on the spot, which is fantastic. That's great for development. And I thought, oh, okay, all right, close my eyes, take a deep breath. What do I feel? And because clairsentience is my strongest one, clairsentience and clairaudience is how I receive things most commonly. And I felt into my body and I said, oh, I feel anxious. Like I just got that feeling of the pit of your stomach when you feel a little bit anxious and worried, and it came in quite quickly. And I knew that it wasn't something I'd been feeling previously. It was sudden. Oh, I'm feeling anxious and hungry. Okay. And then I had a few other things come in that were visual, so clairvoyance and clairaudient as well. But that was a really key one, saying I felt hungry and I also felt anxious. And what he did afterwards was he validated, which is a key part to your development. So he said, you know what's really funny? I went to visit a friend in the hospital today. I'd forgotten to eat before I left. I got to the hospital. I was really anxious about seeing them. I was a little bit worried. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and get some lunch first and settle my stomach. So that was definitely something that went together and made sense. So that was a clear intuitive hit, which was really, really cool and great for my development as well. Now we're going to talk about some crystals and herbs and things that you can use to enhance your own clairsentience. Some of the ones that I love to use are things like citrine. Citrine is a beautiful crystal and it is one of the quartz family, so it is going to be an amplifier. Amplifiers are great for magnifying and getting more out of what you're wanting to work with it for. Now, this particular type of crystal, you can see here, this is called a generator. So it's got 1 point. You can also get double terminated where it has a point at each end, but I prefer the single point when you're wanting to work with a specific energy and bring something in. Now, what you can do is you can do a meditation of your solar plexus, so holding it just on that spot below your ribs in the center of your abdomen, just here, and you can point that point right there and imagine all of the knowledge and intuition that you want flowing through the universe into this crystal, amplifying and going into that center as well, that energy center. So that's a really great way to do it. I often do this with the other crystals as well. So when I'm working with my third eye or my clairvoyance, I might place that here, and clairaudience, you may place one on either side of your head or even at your throat chakra. So it's a really good way to start using the shapes of the crystals as well as the crystal itself. You may only have access to a smaller piece. This is a citrine point. That's totally fine. You could also start experimenting with crystal grids and drawing a little crystal grid with some citrine, maybe some other crystals such as golden tiger's eye, to start working on your clairsentience and bringing in those solar plexus vibes to your intuition. This one here is Golden Tiger's Eye. It's really, really great. It's a very grounding crystal too, so when you're just starting out, this can be a really good one to use. Now let's talk about some herbs. Some that you may want to utilize are myrrh and lemongrass. You can use these as an essential oil, so they're really great if you're trying to delve in or read for somebody, popping them on as an essential oil or an incense and having that in the room. You can also use herbs such as jasmine and chamomile as well. I find both of these really beneficial for opening up that clairsentience inside yourself and getting you in tune with your body and connecting back in with yourself as well. Making sure that you're grounded before you start any developing of this skill is going to be essential here as well, because you don't want to be taking on any of the stimuli that is around you. So if there's lots of noise, if there's lots of things that may actually produce a physical sensation in your body, you're going to want to ignore those. So ground down, come back into your own body, center yourself, so tapping here, that's all going to help you as well. Now we're going to do another fun exercise to begin developing your clairsentience. I love doing these with you guys, and I love hearing about what you got as well. So please comment below. I love to hear it. Now I'm going to be using my Dark Mansion Tarot deck today. And what I want you to do, again, is focus on the physical sensations in your body. If you're still receiving things visually or auditory as well, that's fine. But what I want you to try and focus on is your actual body, okay? And what that means to you. Let's pick a card. Now I'm going to tune into this and feel into it and project that out to you guys. And I want you to think of sensations in your body that you're feeling. This could be a really good one for that as well. So, ready? Go. Okay. Now remember, you can always pause the video if you need a little bit more time. Now I almost decided to pull a different card today because we've had this card before, but looking at it again, I thought, you know what, this one's actually a really great one for you guys. So this one, and I'll pop it up here as well, this is the Wheel of Fortune. Now remember, we did have this recently in a previous episode. But this is a different tarot deck, so it's a totally different vibe. You can see this is almost at like a fair or a circus, that sort of thing, right? And we have this beautiful Ferris wheel. So some of the things you may have felt is a drop in the pit of your stomach, like when you go on a ride and it drops really fast, or you get that excitement that you're about to go on this ride, a little bit of dizziness potentially, that might be the heights coming through. There is also some fire, they've represented all of the elements of fire, earth, air, water, but the fire here is quite prominent to me, so you may have felt really warm. It looks like a warm night as well in the early evening. So think of adrenaline, excitement, a rush, a drop. Those are the sorts of things you may have felt. So I'm really interested to see what came through for you. And I'm feeling drawn to do another card as well. So let's just see what else might come up. All right. This is a good one. All right. Tune in again. Feel free to pause if you need a little bit more time. Now this one, we have here the Ace of Wands. And immediately when I see this and when I start tuning in, I actually feel quite parched. My mouth goes a little bit dry, like I'm without water. So that definitely coincides with the imagery that we see here. So you may have also felt warmth, hot, dry, those sorts of things can come through. A rush of energy, because this is an Ace of Wands. It's fresh energy, momentum, inspiration, that sort of thing. So I'm very curious to see what you guys got tuning into these cards. It's going to be different depending on what you're tuning into. If you tune into someone's body and their own energy space, you're going to get totally different things than if you tune in with something like this. Another example of clairsentience, which I actually don't recommend. I went to a natural history museum and was being my curious self, and I put my hand on a stuffed animal. So this was previously a live animal. Put my hand on their head and started to tune into their body. And I felt incredibly sick and dizzy and nauseated. It was not a good experience. I don't recommend doing that with anything that is deceased or anything in, say, a graveyard, that sort of thing, unless you are a talented medium. Same thing goes in antique stores and that sort of thing. I find sometimes that energy can just be too much and it can actually make you feel quite ill. So I don't recommend doing those ones. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I look forward to doing our next one, where we're going to be getting into some of the rarer forms of the psychic senses, but still very interesting nonetheless. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye!